Good Wednesday afternoon, and thanks for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Lauren Lemanchek. Now let's get to your headlines. Breaking this afternoon, the Minnesota Department of Health confirming a second case of measles in our state. According to health officials, this case involves a Minnesotan under the age of 1 that was diagnosed in another country. The child, according to MDH, was too young to have received the routine measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine and was likely infectious while abroad, but was not infectious when they returned to Minnesota, so no exposures occurred here. Although this child was too young to have received the routine MMR vaccine, children between 6 months and 1 year of age can get that vaccine before international travel. Taking a live look now from Vatican City tonight, where thousands of Catholics around the world are paying their final respects to Pope Francis. His body lying in state in St. Peter's Basilica for 3 days before his funeral on Saturday. While the world's gaze has focused on Rome, Jerusalem's historic Church of the Holy Sepulchre, which many Christians believe occupies the site of Jesus' crucifixion and burial, held a requiem mass for Pope Francis this morning. NBC's Matt Bradley's in Jerusalem with more on the late pontiff's importance to the Middle East.
We're here in the beautiful and really historic Church of the Holy Sepulchre here in the old city of Jerusalem, and that's where we've been hearing a requiem for Pope Francis. Of course, this was held by Franciscans, and that is a very significant order to Pope Francis, even though he was a Jesuit, because Pope Francis was the first pope in history to take the name Francis. But this church itself was particularly significant to Pope Francis. This was one of the first places he visited once he assumed the papacy back more than 10 years ago, and the Middle East was a very significant place for him. He regularly called for peace in the Gaza Strip, as he called for peace throughout the world, and it was only about a day before he died that he called for peace in the Gaza Strip, right up until his last breath. 2 days before he died, he did something that he was doing almost on a daily basis for the last year and a half, phoning up and personally speaking to Catholics in the Gaza Strip, even as they endured the horrific war that has been going on ever since October 7th. This is a man who took a very significant interest in the plight of the poor in the global south, but it was the cause of peace that we heard time and time again, and that really also became one of his signatures. Now, he also reached out to Muslims, to Jews, to Buddhists, to Hindus. This was a man who saw his role as leading the Catholic faith as reaching out to other faiths. And it's one of the reasons why people of faith throughout the world are going to be looking to Rome to see who takes up the pontificate next. But also, folks here in Jerusalem and throughout the Middle East are going to be looking to Rome as well, wondering if the next pope will have the same emphasis on global peace. Matt Bradley, NBC News, Jerusalem.
A look at the markets this afternoon as the White House says President Trump is setting the stage right now for a deal with China on tariffs. Just this week, the International Monetary Fund reported that Trump's tariffs will slow down the U.S. and global economies by 0.5% year over year. Trump says the tariffs on Chinese imports eventually won't be, quote, anywhere near the 145% that it's at now. The president speaking about negotiations this afternoon.
Can you clarify, Mr. President, on China?
Yeah, we are going to have a fair deal with China. It's going to be fair.
Are you talking to them actively now?
Actively. Everything's active. Everybody wants to be a part of what we're doing. They know that they can't get away with it any longer, but they're still going to do fine. And we're going to have a country that you can be proud of, not a laughing stock all over the world for many years. Tariff negotiations are going very well. We're dealing with many, many countries. They all want to be involved with America.
New this afternoon, a big shakeup is coming to the Senate as longtime Illinois Senator Dick Durbin announces he will not seek re-election next year. Durbin is the 5th most senior member of the Senate. He's been in his seat since winning it in 1996. In a video on X, Durbin said he loves serving the people in the Senate, but it's time to pass the torch. Right now, police in Washington County are searching for David Powers, a New Auburn man who was convicted today for a number of crimes, despite him not showing up to court. Powers was first reported missing Monday for closing arguments. Now, Powers was on trial for holding his girlfriend hostage and sexually assaulting her at home in Lake Elmo back in 2023. Powers was on bail, which is now forfeit, and wearing a GPS ankle monitor at the time he disappeared. We're tracking a developing investigation right now. 8 Minnesotans are facing racketeering charges right now for allegedly stealing more than $200,000 in pull-tab cash from local bars and restaurants. According to the criminal complaint obtained by KARE 11, the group committed 44 burglaries from March 2023 to February of last year. Among the places hit, the Wild Boar in Hopkins, where the thieves walked away with nearly $22,000, and Cowboy Jack's in Otsego with nearly $18,000. Investigators say they also tried to crack the safe at the Chanhassen American Legion Post 580.
They came through the glass doors in front with a sledgehammer, broke the exterior door, broke the interior door, which we don't know why because it wasn't locked.
Commander Glenn Anderson says the thieves caused $3,500 in damage, but did not get access to their pull-tab profits. Now, these profits, Anderson says, support everything from youth sports to veterans health care to local fire departments. Right now, a state of emergency in New Jersey as a wildfire burns out of control. New video today showing just how close wildfire flames are getting to structures in New Jersey. The fire is happening in Ocean County and sparked on Tuesday. For now, evacuation orders for the area have been lifted, but state officials are asking residents to stay vigilant. So far, flames have scorched about 12,000 acres of land, and the largest fire is about 30% contained. Well, heads up if you have any summer travel plans. We're exactly 2 weeks out from a major deadline that could affect your ability to get on a flight. In exactly 2 weeks, you'll need one of these to board a domestic flight, a real ID with a yellow star in the right corner. That is, unless you're traveling with a passport or you have an enhanced ID. Now, if you still need to get one, here's what you'll need to bring to the DMV. One document showing your identity, date of birth, and legal status. That could include a passport, birth certificate, or permanent resident card. You'll also need to know your social security number and bring 2 documents proving your Minnesota residency. Think current driver's license, utility bill, or credit card statement. You will want to act quickly. The turnaround right now to actually get it is about 47 days. That's why the state's Driver Services Program Director recommends you pre-apply and pre-verify online to get your real ID in time.
Please help me congratulate the graduating troopers of the 70th Training Academy.
"42 new Minnesota State Troopers are ready for patrol tonight after graduating from the Training Academy this week. Those graduates coming from a wide variety of backgrounds, with each having their own personal reason for taking up the badge. Jessica Hart shares one of their stories.
Dressed in brown with a touch of gold, 42 new state troopers took an oath.
All this I solemnly swear.
All this I solemnly swear.
They all come from different backgrounds, but they all want the same thing: to serve their community.
I just want to keep the people safe and protect them.
There was no other job for Trooper Saul Lar.
No, man.
Many in his class grew up in Minnesota. Lar grew up overseas.
My family fled to Thailand because of the civil war in Myanmar, where I was born. I came to the United States when I was 11.
He lived in a refugee camp for 8 years.
Life there was difficult because we weren't rich. We didn't have anything. Most of the day we'd go out without having anything to eat, and it's difficult, but we get through it each day.
At 24 years old, he's now a state trooper and a part of a class that made history.
For the first time since 1977, every single cadet in this class has graduated.
Such a rare occurrence. It's been 5 decades, but they made the commitment when they showed up in January that they would encourage and support each other to come back every Sunday.
But you rose to the challenge, and you rose together as the committed 70th.
The committed 70th class will now march out into the community, a role Lar is proud to have.
They could choose not to accept me to this country, but instead they did accept me, so I want to give back to them and show them that I really appreciate them giving us this opportunity.
An opportunity for a fresh start, an opportunity he hopes to return.
I'm ready to serve the community and give back to them.
Now, Lar got assigned to cover the Worthington area, which is the same city where his twin brother works as a police officer. Congratulations to all the new troopers. We're learning more about the big announcement from the Education Department regarding student loans. The White House reaffirmed that nearly 5 million student loan borrowers in default could soon face garnishments of their wages, tax refunds, and federal benefits. The Education Department says collections will resume on May 5th. Borrowers who are in default will receive emails over the next 2 weeks that explain their options to start paying back their loans.
I certainly understand that it could be a shock. My biggest bit of advice would be to ask lots of questions and try to find a solution that works best for them and their situation.
KARE 11's Gordon Severson spoke with college planning experts, and you can hear more of their advice in his full report online at KARE11.com and streaming right here on KARE 11 Plus. Stick with us. There's more news and weather coming up after the break.